Welcome to the December 2025 edition of the GECF Monthly Gas Market Report. We would like to present a short overview of the main highlights of the report, which include the major developments in the gas market during the last month. As of December 2025, global GDP growth for 2025 has been revised upward by 0.1 percentage points to 3.4%, based on purchasing power parity, as forecasted by Oxford Economics. This reflects the continued resilience of the world economy and its ability to sustain steady expansion despite ongoing challenges. Growth is expected to ease slightly in 2026, with global GDP projected to rise by 3.1%. At a country level, US GDP growth forecast for 2025 remains unchanged at 2%, while the 2026 projection has been revised up to 2.5%, supported by higher consumer spending and rising AI-related investment. In the EU, GDP growth for 2025 and 2025 has been revised upward to 1.5% and 1.1%, respectively, driven by slightly better than expected performance in Q3 2025. China's GDP outlook holds steady at 4.8% for 2025 and 4.5% for 2026, underpinned by productivity gains in high-tech manufacturing. Meanwhile, India's GDP growth forecast has been raised to 7.7% for 2025 and 6.5% for 2026. In the first 10 months of 2025, aggregated gas consumption in some of the major gas-consuming countries, which account for 75% of global gas demand, increased by 1.6% year-on-year to reach 2,902 BCM. Growth was recorded in the EU, UK, and North America, while Asia showed a decline. EU natural gas consumption decreased by 2.6% year-on-year in November 2025, reaching 33.8 BCM. The decline was driven by lower residential heating demand and reduced industrial needs. The cold spell that Europe experienced during the third week did not translate into higher overall natural gas consumption for the month. This indicates that underlying demand weakness remained dominant, limiting the impact of brief temperature fluctuations. EU electricity generation saw a 0.2% year-on-year increase to reach 222 terawatt-hours. Notably, gas-fired power surged by 7% year-on-year, reflecting gas's continued importance in balancing the grid, particularly during the recent cold spell. In October 2025, China's apparent gas demand recorded a growth of 0.6% year-on-year to 35.6 BCM. In the first 10 months of 2025, China's gas demand rose only 0.9% year-on-year. China is rapidly expanding its bonded LNG bunkering sector, supported by new government policies and rising storage capacity of 3 million cubic meters. Major ports such as Shanghai and Shenzhen posted strong growth, with a sixth bunkering port coming in 2026. In November 2025, US natural gas consumption increased by 3.7% year-on-year to 79 BCM, supported by higher residential and commercial demand, which rose by 27% and 10% year-on-year respectively, as cooler-than-usual temperatures boosted heating needs. In October 2025, global gas production rose by an estimated 2.8% year-on-year to reach 366 BCM. All major gas-producing regions except for Asia-Pacific and Europe recorded positive growth, led by North America, particularly the US. European gas production witnessed a 0.8% year-on-year decline in gas production to 15.8 BCM. This is the ninth month to record a year-on-year decrease in the European output in 2025, mainly driven by lower gas production in Norway, UK, and the Netherlands. In October 2025, China's gas production maintained its growing trend to reach 22.1 BCM, representing a 6.1% year-on-year surge. For the period January to October 2025, cumulative gas production in China stood at 217 BCM, reflecting a 6.3% year-on-year growth. Meanwhile, in November 2025, US total gas production continued its growth trend, to record a rise of 6.8% year-on-year, to stand at 93.2 BCM. This increase was supported by the increased Henry Hub prices, which improved market dynamics, in addition to the rising domestic gas demand and growing LNG exports. In November 2025, the EU countries imported 12 BCM of PNG, which represented a decrease of 2% month-on-month, as well as a decrease of 10% year-on-year. After 11 months of 2025, cumulative EU PNG imports totaled 130 BCM, a 9% decrease year-on-year. During this period, PNG imports entering via Germany accounted for 23% of the regional total. In addition, net gas flows from the UK to mainland Europe increased by 12% compared to the same period 1 year ago. With the seasonal decline due to Golden Week celebrations, China imported 5.5 BCM of PNG in October 2025. This volume was however 1% higher year-on-year, marking 18 consecutive months of year-on-year increases in PNG imports. Total PNG imports after 10 months of 2025 increased by 8% to reach 67 BCM. In November 2025, global LNG imports maintained strong momentum, rising 14% year-on-year to 38.2 million tons. Europe continued to drive growth, supported by lower pipeline gas imports and a persistently narrow price spread between European and Asian spot LNG, which made it the preferred destination for flexible Atlantic Basin cargoes, particularly from the US. Meanwhile, Asia-Pacific and MENA posted modest gains. On the supply side, global LNG exports surged by 15% year-on-year to reach an all-time high of 39.8 million tons, driven mainly by Canada, Indonesia, Malaysia, Nigeria, and the US. US LNG shipments exceeded 100 million tons from January to November 2025, marking a historic milestone and cementing the US position as the world's leading LNG exporter. With the net gas withdrawal season underway in Europe, the monthly average level for underground gas storage in the EU decreased to 84 BCM in November 2025. This represented 81% of the region's capacity but remained 9 BCM less than the 5-year average for that month. In Asia, combined LNG stocks in Japan and South Korea climbed month-on-month to an estimated 15 BCM, which was 1.4 BCM greater than the 5-year average. In the US, net gas injections pushed the monthly average storage level to 112 BCM, or 83% of capacity. Net gas injections in the US in 2025 totaled 64 BCM. In November 2025, European TTF spot prices averaged $10.35 per million British thermal units, down 5% month-on-month and 25% year-on-year, with daily prices falling to $9.77 per million British thermal units, the lowest level since May 2024. In Asia, Northeast Asia spot LNG prices averaged $11.07 per million British thermal units, rising 2% month-on-month but still 21% lower year-on-year. In the US, Henry Hub prices continued their upward trajectory, averaging $3.87 per million British thermal units, an increase of 22% month-on-month and 78% year-on-year. Looking ahead, spot prices may be supported by colder weather driving stronger heating demand. Thank you for watching this short video presentation on the December 2025 edition of the GECF Monthly Gas Market Report. We invite you to download the full report from our website at www.gecf.org, or you can scan the QR code.